Good morning. Thank you for being here so early. I'm always a little bit afraid being the first session of the day, but thank you very much for being here today. Pepijn Richter, I lead industry product management. We have a packed session for you today, showing a couple of demos of our agents. We have a surprise guest as well later. We have audience here in the room, but there's also audience online and for the recording. So please hold your questions until the end. Then the microphone will come in and we make sure that the online audience will hear it as well. This session is all about retail and what we do in retail. I just wanted to start with a few questions and I will try to translate that to the online audience in terms of like what happens in the room, but I just want to ask each of you to raise your hand when you're using kind of an AI app to search for certain things. Does anyone have ChatGPT, Microsoft 365 Copilot installed on their phone? I want to see hands, so that at least 75% of the room. Just keep your hand up. So who is using that app as a default app to do search as well? So about 50%? Yeah, more or less. So that's also what kind of consumers do based on research. So imagine that kind of that change in technology usage and what it means for retailers, that you use very different technology now to search and discover kind of what you want to buy, what products you want to buy. So that's what the session is about, is creating these kind of new, rich experiences through AI. And we have worked with many retailers and we co-developed kind of our agents together with retailers. And we did that kind of across domains. So, of course, we have agents in the domain of kind of the stores, looking at changing that employee experience, but also changing business processes in stores. So we have an agent called Store Operations that can really easily find customer orders, find products, find inventory, but also responds to kind of local demand. Is there an event in your region, or what is the weather doing? We also develop agents in the space of kind of customer engagement and to really change that interaction with the consumer. And that's the one that we want to focus on a little bit in this session. But you see, AI is currently transforming the entire landscape from back-end processes to front-end customer experiences. Now, as a team, I just wanted to explain what we do just briefly, what our industry approach is to agent, because you know Microsoft is a platform company, so we have horizontal products. So what we do as a team is we actually create industry-relevant IP on top of core horizontal Microsoft portfolio and products. And then we do that for just a select number of use case scenarios, just few, because there's a lot to do. So in doing that, we work very hard with kind of our ecosystem, retailers, brands, but also partners that are active in the space of retail, to enrich these agent scenarios, but also to connect with agents that they have built, just to fuel that ecosystem, ignite the ecosystem, no pun intended, to create agents. So we only do few, just to show kind of how our core horizontal products could be relevant in this industry. Now, you've seen this slide probably many times, but I really like the paradigm shift of AI, and there are three on that slide, but two I just want to call out. The third one we come back to later. But two really important things. One is the change in the user experience and how you interact with technology. And we see that in retail, it's all becoming multimodal. So in addition to chat, things like image upload and find matching product will be very common soon. Voice interaction, store associates that look for products or want some expert advice, just talking to the technology and getting a response back in voice. So the experience will change, as you see in using, for instance, Microsoft 365 Copilot. I don't know if you've ever used it in a car and used the voice, but it's a completely different experience. The second one is around kind of the business logic, where we as app developers were used to create product requirements and create a lot of logic that was deterministic. Now the model provides much more different logic, and it's a very rich logic experience with the model. So these are two kind of paradigm shifts that will help us kind of transform business processes and business in general. Now, that was just a quick setup. I wanted to get into retail really quickly, and especially kind of agents that we have developed to kind of enrich that customer engagement scenarios together with retailers. And one of these, we call it personalized shopping agent. It's an immersive, almost product discovery experience to give consumers a different way to kind of find products and discover outfits. And you see a little video here playing as well. So Ralph Lauren was one of our first customers that we developed this with, this conversational commerce scenarios with. But it really provides a change from, I look for a product and I need to have almost the specs ready for that product to find it, versus, I need something, I need a washing machine and I need it for a family of 4. I want to wash twice a week. So what would you recommend me as a washing machine? So it's a much more kind of consumer-centric, immersive experience that you can bring. And again, Ralph Lauren was one of the retailers that we piloted this with. If you're a fan of Ralph Lauren or you want to become a fan of Ralph Lauren, just download their app on the App Store. You need to sign in as an app, but then Ask Ralph is available there. And you can actually bring their stylist that they have in the store actually to an online experience. And you can start to play around with it and say, what is my occasion? I have a wedding or I have a work-related event. And I have that in Sydney or London or San Francisco. And from that experience, it will start to provide you with either a product recommendation if you want that, or outfit recommendations. And you can actually do multiple outfits side by side. So it can provide you with 3 outfits comprising of 5 items each. And it's a really nice experience because it keeps the context. So if you go through the Q&A and you want to ask some related questions, or you want to swap out certain items, then you can do that. So a very different experience in discovering products and buying these products. So we have kind of productized that experience, and we are using Microsoft Copilot Studio as a front end for ease of discovery, but also ease of initial deployment. And then we manage that agent in the backend with lots of services. And this is like an abstract overview of what that agent is doing. And just wanted to clear the slide a little bit. On the left-hand side, you see a kind of what the LLM tries to do. So a couple of things. We have multiple consumer intents that we enable. And the first thing the LLM tries to do is what is the consumer's intent? So do they want to know anything about the brand history of the brand? Do they want to know, are they looking for a gift? Are they looking for kind of advanced product recommendation? Or are they actually looking at an outfit? So a combination of items that fit a certain occasion, location. So that's the first part. But then the second part, there's an orchestrating based on the consumer intent, the next steps. It's a headless service because we believe that retailers and brands have invested lots in their brand equity. So if you talk about consumer apps or websites, we don't want to replace that. So the agent is a headless service that can be plugged into different experiences. Online, consumer facing, or in store if you want to. So it could run on, for instance, a point of sale device or any device that you have in store to empower the in-store associate with the same experience, expert experience. And then, of course, it uses the LLM to do consumer intent, to do the orchestration, and to come up with the first outfit recommendations. And then it uses AI search to search kind of the product catalog of a retailer. There's some rules that you can configure there around inventory and promotions, etc. It is completely configurable, so it can be grounded in the brand voice of a retailer. So we use RAG to actually upload documents or anything, knowledge graphs that can ground it in the truth of the retailer. So that's, at a glance, kind of that personalized shopping agent that we have. So with that, I want to invite Amit on stage to do a demo and to run through it. Welcome, Amit.
Thank you, Pepijn.
So while Amit is setting up the demo and switching over to his machine, a couple of things. So what you will see is an experience, doing this one. What you will see is an experience in Copilot Studio, and Amit will go through the maker scenario first, so basically the IT admin experience to deploy the agent, and then slowly go into the user scenario. So we will do both. There was a link on the last slide. If you want to play the first part with us, so the deployment scenario, I would invite you just open your laptop, go to Copilot Studio. The personalized shopping agent is available there, and start the deployment. The actual deployment will take 10 minutes, so you will probably not finish it. But I would love to have you experience how easy it is to deploy such an agent using Copilot Studio. But with that, I think you should take the floor.
I think house full we have today, so thank you for coming over. So folks, as Pepijn mentioned, our key ethos behind scaling this agent was how faster can a person who's using it take it to the market? How simple is it to scale, to integrate with n number of applications? So my store associate or my retailer doesn't need to worry about 10 applications sitting in the back end where my inventory is lying on one, my product details are lying on another one, my attributes are lying on a third one. How can I integrate all this in the simplest way possible, provide the fastest time to market, provide a solution on the hands of the user in the shortest possible time, yet maintain the layers of extensive, rich experience that we can. And with this, we created solution, personalized shopping agent. Now, what we have, as Pepijn mentioned, there are 3 key components to install, and we often say that you have in a day experience. But to be very honest with you, it's not exactly in a day. We have even achieved an experience that people are able to do within few hours. It all depends on how readily data is available, how we can use that. So there are 3 layers to this entire experience. One, we, of course, assuming that you already have an environment created, so we go to Maker Portal, which is make.powerS.com, and do the data ingestion over there. Second, we go to Copilot Studio and do the agent installation. Now, this agent installation, around 8 to 10 minutes, and data ingestion takes from few hours to a day maximum to do that. Just bear with me and walk with me while I'll take you through this experience and how quickly we can get the agent up and running. After I wear my thinking glasses. All right, so folks, the journey starts from Copilot Studio. So you go to copilotstudio.microsoft.com and you will see, of course, the list of agents. If you click on Create on the left side, you will see a list of managed agents. Why managed agents? Because these are the agents where we have components of services that is acutely managed by Microsoft. You will see frequent updates, you will see frequent fixes coming on this side, and which is where you see that it's slightly different from a regular template that you will find on Copilot Studio, wherein you will see frequent updates coming in your way. The update story, upgrade story is pretty smooth, pretty simple on this. And hence, this is what we go with managed solution. So if you click on this and you see this agent called personalized shopping agent, if you click on this, it's a simple step-by-step process. You click on install, you will see brief description over here and TNC in case you want to go through that. You click on install. Now system guides you step-by-step through a simple click-through experience. What I'll do is I'll just give you initial impression how it goes and then how we take it further. So first step, there are two key steps in this. One, it identifies the Dataverse environment on which it has to latch onto. So Dataverse is what it latches onto. Your indexing is on Dataverse and my entire experience is built on that indexing. So let us say it latches onto the Dataverse environment. Second, it asks you whether you want to use demo data or not. So the system comes with its own demo data. So while we say that step number 2 is where you talk about demo data in parallel, step number 2 is where we talk about data ingestion in parallel. You can always take care of it later. You can just use demo data while you install, and what benefit it is, within 10 minutes, you will have this agent up and running in your tenant with the demo data, neatly indexed, and you can start playing around with that. So as you see, last step I connected with the Dataverse application. Now I select the demo data option over here as yes. And this something, it's not a one-way road. You can select yes now just for initial experience, and you can always go back to Maker Portal. It's a simple toggle. You can say no, and where you can direct the traffic to your data which you are ingesting from your ecosystem, or at any point of time you can flip back to say yes and again do experience with demo data. So it's something that you can flip back and forth because both are latching on to two different data sets to help you flip back, give an experience to your wider audience and come back to your actual ground truth. So while this is happening, this may take around 8 to 10 minutes. What this gives you is an agent which is installed on your Copilot Studio system. You can click on it, you can open it, click on it, which brings you to an experience, to an agent like this. Now, this is where my journey starts. While the setup has been done in 10 minutes, my journey starts over here. So if you see this agent that is installed, personalized shopping, it comes with a good set of instructions on how I, as an agent, should be interacting with my end consumers. What are the guardrails within which my interaction should go? What are the good and the bad discussions that I should have or I should not have? So it comes a plethora of that. And as Pepijn mentioned, that this is something we grew with the retailers whom we got involved with. So we have experiences, learnings from that, which all go and make the guardrails into the system. But that is not the only one, because system pretty configurable. It also allows you to define your own guardrails as your brand, as your sub-vertical. It can be electronics, it can be nutrition, it can be fashion. With your sub-vertical, you may have some specific guardrails that you want to put. It's a layered approach, very configurable. While the system ensures a core set of guardrails, you can always define your own. You can always define your own experience, how this agent should be behaving or interacting with my end consumers, how this should be interacting with my store associates who are standing within the store. Should I be terse and more transactional over here, and should I be more chatty and more interactive over here? So you can always define the experience you want to drive. And this is where my Copilot Studio finishes. What it does is, within 10 minutes, it ensures all the microservices that are needed to call the backend processes are in place. It ensures that the Dataverse tables, the indexing tables that is needed for the system to operate is in place. Now, within 10 minutes, now that is in place, we go on to the second step, wherein we say, go on to the Maker Portal. Now, Maker Portal is where what we have done is, we have defined the data ingestion journey using data flows from Power Platform. The benefit it gives us is your data state can lie anywhere and everywhere. It gives 250 plus connectors from which you can start the journey. So if you see, if I were to do that, I'm on Power Platform, I click on the data flows on the left side. Now this is make.prod.powerapps.com. Depending on the environment that you have, you can pre-prod preview. So let us say make.powerapps.com. If you go over there and you select the environment where you are dabbling with, on the left side is a set of actions that you can take. I clicked on data flows. On data flows, I define a new data flow. Let us say PC Ignite and create. Now if you see, this allows me to latch on to 250 plus connectors already available for all the leading data sources in the market. You will see over here, I'll click on next. Layered, you can choose any of them to go with. You can choose more than one to go with. As I said, your one data can be lying on a data source, your another data can be lying on another data source. You can choose more than one to bring data in. Or if you don't have a connector, you always have OData connectors and you can latch on to the APIs to get the data in. Now, once we get that data in, what happens after that? So let us say I select a simple OData connector to start with. And maybe I'm using this for the sake of example, maybe I'm using this to pull in data which is lying on Dynamics 365 F&O on a customer's estate. So what I do is I choose this OData connector, I point to the right environment. If you see this layer, you have the URL, you have connection details, I point to the right environment, I use the right credentials. Of course, you will need admin credential. I use the right credentials to pull in that information. How frequently I need to pull? Everything is configurable. You can say within 30 minutes or as soon as the data is updated over there, that information should come. Now, what does pull mean in this case? Pull means I need to create a shadow of that data for my system to perform. That means let me give an example. So once I pull in this information, and assuming it is all lying on a single table, you create something like this, which is where I have pulled multiple data, multiple attributes to start with. Now, you can start simple. You can start with as simple as just pulling in product information, description, few attributes to start the experience, or you can go wider, variants, size, color, style, everything you can pull into a single one. So if I pull in this information, it looks like this. You have different columns providing you different information, somewhere it's attributes, somewhere it's size, somewhere it's weight, dimensions, all this information is there. What do? I point out, I use simple M queries, and which is where we have detailed guidelines and detailed documentation to guide you with. I use simple M queries to aggregate this data, because what I need to do is I need to point this data to my index table that is there, which is lighting up the scenario. So what I do, I use M query to aggregate this data, point to the right tables. What it does is I need 3 simple tables to start with: my ID, which is my unique key, my product name, which is where, of course, I'm identifying the product, and everything else, all the attributes, size, description, dimension, we aggregate into a single column and we create a JSON out of that, which is where we not only take this data, add semantic references on top of this data to ensure that you have a rich set of data on which my experience can be light up. And this is some information that I can pull in it, and what benefit it gives us tomorrow. You have added some new attributes to the product. You don't need to make any changes. Come over here, do a couple of clicks, bring the additional attributes data set over here, rerun the JSON, everything is sorted. So no additional coding that you need to do. You can stay on the same state. You can continue serving a specific subvertical like fashion, and equally well you can continue serving another fashion like another subvertical like nutrition or health and fitness, because we are aggregating data, adding the right semantic references to light up the scenario. Once this is done, and if you see what I've done is I've taken the columns that I have aggregated from a data source like Dynamics 365 F&O, we have mapped it to 3 columns in my database or index. These 3 columns are something that will light up my scenario, because in these 3 columns, as I said, we need minimal ID, name, and everything else is what we pull into a column called characteristics. Everything else aggregated, semantic references added, and this is my powerhouse. This is what is lighting up the scenario. Now what I do, I have this index done. It may run and may take, depending on the size of data, maybe 30, 45 minutes to maybe few hours. It may take for this indexing to work. Once this is done, what we do is we go back to Copilot Studio and we release it to any channel. And if you recall what Pepijn mentioned, that this solution is a headless solution. You can release it to any channel you want to. We have customers who are using this on their website and guiding the customers to select the right fragrances for them. We have customers like Ralph Lauren who are using this on their mobile application, and we have customers who are using this for their in-store scenarios on Zebra devices, on Android devices, and on iPhones. So system comes with a rich set of a very exhaustive user interface, a UX that we have. You can take it and brand it. You can host it on the website, and also a web app or mobile application, which you can take run on Android or iPhone, depending on how you want to proceed. So now that I have the Copilot Studio setup done, my first step, which took around 10 minutes, my data indexing done, which can take around 30, 45 minutes to few hours, or let's say worst case, it goes beyond that, let's say around 8 to 10 hours. Indexing is done. Now, my third step is how do I want to light up the user experience, which is where I will release my app on any of the channels that you want to, and it will be guided by the user experience that we provide. Now, what is the user experience? Let me come to that. We've taken a website, 𝗦𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 from Dynamics line of word, and what we have done is we have just embedded an experience over here just to give an impression that how exactly my end consumer may interact with the application.
So Amit, this is a mock-up experience, right? Because it's a headless agent, so this is just a demo experience.
Oh yeah, exactly. So this website, we were initially, we could have gone with mobile application, we could have gone with website application, but what you see, everything is very, very easily configurable, depending on your line of product, because I'm re-emphasizing the starting premise that this is a personalized experience for which can go beyond the boundaries of your subvertical. You can have our whole theme is that how can I provide a personalized experience to a person where I can provide him a stylist who is available to them 24/7, or a nutritionist who can guide them what they want to eat, when they want to eat, or even guide what their pet may want to eat in a certain situation. So it's a totally headless experience which you can put anywhere, and it transcends the boundaries of subverticals. So for the sake of example, we have put this on the website. Now what we do, this experience again, as we discussed, it is a floating experience, if I may put it that way. So you can, let me just refresh this. So you can have a floating bar somewhere, you can have an icon, depending on how you want to do. You can have some fancy button appearing on any side of the screen, pretty configurable. Now what we do, and as I said, it's a vanilla experience that we want to drive with. So you can have some pre-populated set of questions coming through, which can be based on the most asked questions by your consumers, or it can be based on the most discussed topics that are coming under your purview. Let me, for the sake of discussion, let me say, and this data is lashed onto some outdoor wear, outdoor gears. So I'll just point out a simple abstract experience. I can be as abstract and as focused over here. So let's say I need to go camping in December. What may I need? Now, what it does is, pretty abstract. I have few intents. December camping looks like I don't know what I need to do, but December means maybe a little bit cold. Camping, can I pull in information from all the database considering these few factors to give me an impression? Now, what I get, if you see a list of products, and it's a horizontal scroll, and again, pretty configurable. You can go vertical, horizontal. Let us say it's horizontal. You get a set of products that may help me in going to camping at some point of time in the day. So, and this is something you can define the number of products that you want to show. You can define how you want to show. You can define the entire look and feel. If you see this look and feel, they're all placeholders, which is pretty configurable for you to use. You may define, want to show size and color. You may not want to show. Each of this comes with preset holders for adding to the experience. If you see on the top right, you can add it to the wish list, which adds to the wish list, and you can use that for enhancing the behavior. Or you can also have some placeholders related to adding to the cart. So you have select the right experience. You can go for size. You can go for color, and you can add to the cart, which again then goes back, adds a line, or you can directly go for the checkout. Now let us say I go further and say, oh, show me some. So it carries the behavior, but if you see in every response, there are three key components. One, the set of products that I show, which you can configure. Second, how I want to show that, because I want to interact with the user to tell them why I showed what I showed. So it acknowledges the problem. It tells, okay, this is why you're seeing this. And of course, you can tune this the way you want to interact. It can be crux, 2-liner. It can be detailed, 4-5-liner, the way you want to be. And it ends with a query that as if we are interacting. Okay, so I'll give you this, but you know what? Is there anything additional you're looking for? Is there any specific, you need a sleeping bag for 2 or 3 people. You need a tent for size of 4 or 5. So it asks you some probing questions which can take the journey further and let the system learn about you more to provide you some more details so that you can, the products that we are proposing in each layered interaction has a higher propensity for you to purchase. And that is the interaction that we are driving through.
Hey Amit, this is awesome. So you've seen the IT maker scenario, you've seen the consumer scenario. So we wanted to stress kind of how simple it is to get it up and running and get it going. Of course, you can do much more. You can integrate it completely natively with kind of your consumer app or in-store. So Amit, can you briefly, in 1 minute, tell what is coming next? So what are the next things that you have in mind for the agent that's coming next?
Wow, I'll try in 1 minute. So how we do? Folks, just to give a 30,000 feet view, what we have here is, and this is something, what I'm about to talk is from now until Jan. And you'll see us adding, that's the scalability we're bringing through. So this is a 30,000 feet view. Left side is your user experience. And as we discussed that, you can have it on any channel, any medium of choice. But currently, we are, as I showed you, we are having text-based input, which is driving the experience. You'll soon hear about voice-based inputs and voice-based back and forth interaction. You'll soon hear about image-based input and image-based interaction. And while I don't want to break the huge news, but the image-based interaction can be multi-layered as well. So that is something we are working on right now. You'll soon hear more about that from us. But if you see, the entire experience will continue to be platformed on Copilot Studio. And as I said, why Copilot Studio? Because 3 things. Faster scalability, great integration capabilities from any and every data source that we want to do. And at any point of time, if we want to layer more experiences on top of that, the entire deployment journey still continues to be as simple as it was in the first go. So faster deployability, faster scalability, and quick integration is why Copilot Studio continues to be our choice of platform. Now, it is ably supported, if you see, by a layer of capabilities that we have in the backend, and which is where if you recall, we talked about managed solutions, managed Copilot agents. This is where the managed layer comes in. This is a layer managed by Microsoft, of course, a mix of Procode and Azure services that we are latching on over here. We have right now, you would have experienced product discovery. We talked about catalog enrichment. Pepijn briefly touched upon that, which is what we ensure that the data that goes into the system goes back and enriches the catalog to drive the experience. And of course, we'll be talking about a bit more shortly. Ratings and review and outfit builder is something, you'll be, if you go to the experience, you'll see this experience. You can talk about full ensemble of attributes, full ensemble of outfit that you want to go. I want to go for a wine tasting in the evening, or I want to go for a music festival next week. What do I wear? System understands you, understands your body type, and proposes the right set of ensembles going from accessories to top wear, bottom wear, footwear that you can. And then you can flip around. And this is not fancy I'm pulling from internet. It is something very, very grounded on retailers' data. It is very, very grounded on the guidelines from the marketing, as well as very, very grounded on your seasonal lookbook, which is driven by your designers.
Hey Amit, can we take a look at one of these agents that you have?
Oh, you gave me 1 minute. Can I take more?
Yeah.
All right. So let's do this catalog enrichment agent. So folks, it's not a one-sided street that you set up Copilot Studio, you set up data from Maker Portal, you drive the UX, and then you start interacting. It has to come around, because if I'm not making my system learn over a period of time, I'm missing the huge interaction benefits that I'm getting. My system should provide you more benefits now and even next month, rather than just doing the same thing from day 0 to day 10. And that's exactly where our catalog enrichment agent comes into picture. It takes into cognizance the interaction. It takes into cognizance the rich set of data set that can light up the experience further. So my interaction that somebody is doing on my portal, or my the key buzzwords around the social media, how they're shaping up, they all come together to light up my rich data set in the backend, which again goes back and collectively gives a better experience on the personalized shopping. Now, if you see, the cycle goes on, the cycle continues every week, every month, to take the inputs, what users are interacting, come back, enrich the data, and give me an enriched experience.
So every time you have a product catalog, you can run it through the agent, and you get the attributes.
Absolutely, it can be on demand.
Shall we take a quick look at it?
Yes, please.
Let's go for New York office, the countdown to Fashion Week has begun. Sarah, the catalog manager, has 2 weeks to onboard 500 new products. In the past, each product required up to 20 minutes of manual data entry, including writing custom descriptions. Now, instead of wrangling endless spreadsheets, she turns to the Catalog Enrichment Agent to assist with most of the heavy lifting. The agent is triggered to go to work as soon as the product images and specs are uploaded. Overnight, the agent ingests the data from multiple sources, maps the products to the organization's taxonomy, cleans and standardizes metadata, and generates rich, contextual product descriptions according to 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀's brand guidelines. It then runs a risk assessment to check for invalid images and make sure there are no missing attributes or inconsistencies in the data. If everything checks out, the catalog is automatically published. In the morning, Sarah receives an alert that the collection has been asynchronously processed. The agent enriched all 500 products with compelling, compliant descriptions and correct category tags. What previously would take weeks was completed for her overnight. The catalog is Fashion Week ready, leaving her team free to focus on creativity instead of rote data entry work. The Catalog Enrichment Agent was set up here to run autonomously and update 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀's catalogs directly, but it can also be used by Sarah within 𝗦𝗽𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 for oversight and training. For example, the agent can flag products that need Sarah's attention. She reviews a coat marked as high risk that is missing a product image. She can update the image right from the chat, no need to switch systems. The agent refreshes the product details and explains how it's learning from a correction, improving the next run. After she reviews all flagged items, she can approve the catalog updates in bulk. Using the Catalog Enrichment Agent, Sarah can launch products faster, reduce errors, and free up her team's creative energy for the next big event.
So this was a preview of one of the other agents just to work on data quality. And that brings me to kind of lessons learned that we had. And there are a couple. So first of all, data is paramount, right? So the data is key. And you see that we actually created agents to make sure that we have the right data that you need for these conversational experiences. But then, of course, it's really important that the business has a business case and you create a good set of evaluation metrics for both business as well as for the accuracy of the product. Thirdly, evals and experimentation is so important, and it's really important to actually invite the business user in it. So this is a stylist. So making sure that the human stylists are in the loop. They help design the agent, but they also help test the agent. It's really critical. And last important one is just start small. Start with a small scope. If that works, you can always expand. If you have the scope too wide in the beginning, I think it becomes very complex very quickly, and you see that you don't make as much traction as you want. So these are some of the lessons learned. I talked a little bit about the eval, so I want to skip that one. We have a video on the side where you can see Ralph Lauren's view if you are interested. I wanted to close off with our ecosystem and how we empower our ecosystem. And with that, we have a couple of ways that we can do that. You can, of course, extend our agents for specific verticals. You can embed it in applications that you already have, and it can call the agent as almost a white-labeled agent. And, of course, you can have agent-to-agent communication. So you can have other agents enrich this agent or the other way around. So we work with partners like 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀, and I want to invite Rasmus on stage. We have worked with 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 for quite a while on a number of customers in this scenario, but also in other scenarios. So with that, Rasmus, thank you for being here.
Yeah, my pleasure. Good to be here.
Maybe can you do a quick introduction? Thank you.
Yes, of course. Like my mother would say, love child has many names. So simplified, I'm a global AI retail lead with 𝗬𝗲𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. And by the way, Pepijn, that number is incorrect. The 19 should be 20. We are now the 20th time global systems integrator partner of the year.
Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Our AI didn't catch that, but it was very recent.
Maybe next year.
Congratulations.
Maybe next year.
Yeah. We have worked with lots of retailers together. So what are you hearing from retailers around AI? What are they doing?
Yeah, no, good question. So as you already heard, it's all about the right data, it's the right AI, it's the right experience. So let's talk about this in the context of some of our clients that we've been working with together with Microsoft. One of them is a fragrance retailer. And when you talk about fragrances, it's all about scents. So what do we know about scents? How do you describe them? How do you define them? How do you depict them? Some of this is going to be structured data, some of it is going to be images. Do you even have these images? If I'm looking for a flavor that is coconut, do I need a picture of a coconut to reminisce about my honeymoon with my wife in Aruba? So let's use my wife as an example. The holiday season is coming up. I ask her, what do you want for Christmas? She says, a perfume would be lovely. I'm saying, I'm on it. I'm going to use this personal shopping agent. Looks super brilliant and simple, Amit. I go online, I say, I'm looking for a perfume for my wife. Okay, awesome. The agent will ask me, what scent, what fragrance does she like? I have no idea. What are we talking about? Is it fresh? Is it botanical? Is it warm, woodsy, beach, Hawaiian, whatever? Maybe I type in Hawaii, maybe I type in Aruba, and the depiction of how you have that data can then help tell that story back to me. Here are some perfumes that might reminisce back to that lovely honeymoon in Aruba that later led to 3 children and a puppy. Another example here is then also about one component we didn't talk about as much earlier, which is Microsoft's responsible AI framework. So what was really important for this client was to say, let's say it's holiday season again, I'm looking for a body mist or a scented candle for my 8-year-old daughter. This client did not want any child under 18 to use their agent. So you can now build this in with a responsible AI framework to say, if I get a sense of this being a child, someone under 18, the agent will respond, I cannot help you with that. Just like if I would ask, who's the greatest soccer player ever? Well, guess what? It won't answer that question either. And for those of you who want to have a little fight later, it is not messy.
Great. While working with these retailers that you just called out, how are you seeing they are using AI?
No, that's another good question, because I think that the experience and the human aspect, always human in the loop or on the loop, is super important. And you touched on that a little bit earlier. So one example where we worked with the other side of the human equation is frontline workers, sales associates. We used to call them essential. I don't know what we call them today. Labor and cost is usually what comes back. But how do we give them then the same capabilities that we're now affording our consumers? Because if I go into stores as a consumer, I would expect you to give that right experience back to me. You need to know more, at least equally much as I do. So with this consumer electronics company we worked with, let's say I'm looking for a new, 3 kids. I need a new laundry machine. So what does that mean? Well, you may have 48 different variations. I work in the store. I know everything about 47. And you're asking which one has the most efficient energy usage, something like that. But then it's beyond that. Okay, I'm going to buy this laundry machine. You sold me on it. Do you already have a laundry machine, Rasmus? Yeah. Would you like us to help haul that one away when we install the new one? That would be helpful. I like that. How about installation? Are you going to install this bugger on your own? No, I'm not. Okay, so now you're selling me services. So these types of additional capabilities that you add and layer onto is a really intriguing conversation, because what we want for our frontline workers is we want a multi-agent opportunity. So that AI orchestration where I, as someone working in stores, can just ask a question, maybe even using my voice. So that was another thing that we added was we actually, as part of the partnership, we started using the real-time voice capability. So how do you ask questions in real time and get responses back? And those questions then might be pinging different agents to give me store operation procedures. What's the vacation policy? Which laundry machine is the most efficient? And by the way, what are the services that are associated with these products we just sold Rasmus on? So I think that conversation is interesting. I was gonna tell a funny story there. If you want to ask a question later, we can, but I'll park that because I see the clock is ticking.
Love the examples, Rasmus. Maybe a last question. Lots of folks in the room might actually want to start or are working on AI projects. Can you give them some advice? What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, from our vantage point, we like to talk about retail like it's not about multi-channel, omni-channel. It's the customer is the only channel. So what do I mean by that? Well, take myself again. Wife, 3 kids, and a puppy. Sometimes I don't want to go shopping. I have the 3 kids in the car. You know what? I need to buy stuff, food, clothes, whatever they need. Throw something at them. It'll be fine. Drive by, curbside pickup, pick it up. Everybody's happy. People in the store are happy. I didn't walk in and wander away with my kids. Sometimes me and my wife, we want to go shopping. We want to touch, play, feel product. I want to talk to a human being, someone who can help me, guide me. What's my next purchase? How do I make that happen? And the thing is, it's also about me. Sometimes I work at home and not a true story, I forget it's my wife's birthday. You know, I need something in the next 2 hours. That's my channel. If you cannot deliver my channel of choice, I will find someone who can. And retailers are no different from my wife. They don't like it when I start dating other people. They expect loyalty. And I think the thing about agents is it's becoming that new channel. It's almost like that Taylor Swift song. My bot, talk to your bot, talk to my bot, talk to me. And guess what, Pepijn? Without agents, we are never getting back together, like ever.
We will. Thank you very much, Rasmus, for the partnership. And we will see each other soon. Thank you. Just closing out the session, and you have much more time to talk to Rasmus and Amit, myself, at the export session. But as a closing, the apps that our partners built, they are on the single marketplace, available since September, or the in-product stores, Agent Store, Copilot Studio, you saw. You maybe remember the phrase, there's an app for that. We believe that there will be an agent for that very, very soon if we don't have it today. So closing, please use the expert meetup. We are in the industry booth at Microsoft, right at the bottom of the escalator. So please go and find us. If you want to try it out, the agent, it's in Copilot Studio. The personalized shopping is there. In the preview version, you see new ones coming up, but soon they will be available in Copilot Studio as well. So they are there to try it out for you. So please try them out. And if you have any questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for your time today.